The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's too bad we only got a half an hour today.
Oh, yeah, definitely too bad. Well, let's talk about a couple of things. As many of you know, I worked very long and hard, independent of the show and of the company, for the lack of a better expression, and addressed the Amazon deal and the destruction of it by the city. Yesterday in the Herald News, they published a story about Amazon closes the deal on Fall River and Freetown land, finally. So that's a wonderful thing. It's all done. And then when we review why, we find that this deal was a done deal by the Commonwealth long before Fall River was even in question. So the thing that the deal was almost dead, that was a lie. Because Amazon is not paying a dime to anyone. Okay, but they are providing the training, or they're supporting the training of the governor's job initiative. And I posted the governor's press release of yesterday talking about this. And I made some comments on Facebook in regards to this. And, you know, I know people get a little upset when I say Fall River is a bunch of stupid people, and maybe they're not stupid, they're ignorant. But I will say this much. They're willing to take whatever the state gives them, that pablum, they just keep sucking down and swallowing. And I gotta grab this real quick because I have to say this. And I have to say this very clearly. So I made the comment, and I said, now we know why the Amazon rule is important, not to Fall River, but to the state, the governor of Massachusetts, Alan Sylvia, Mike Rodrigues, Cal Fiola, Paul Schmidt, and the entire city council, including Jazel, sold out the Fall River Biopark for political benefits for themselves. This was a plan that was in place for 10 years, okay? And the governor's press release of the 24th said about the workforce skills cabinet and initiative, which was created by executive order in February. Well, after I posted this, our state representative, Alan Sylvia, and I'm gonna quote him word for word, said, CJ, maybe it's early. I must be one of the poor and stupid people in Fall River that you mentioned, because I don't get it. You are the only person I know who can take a very positive event and make it look like a child sexual abuse conspiracy. You know, I'm not offended by that, but I know a lot of people will be. And I think maybe I and both Alan need to choose our words a little more wisely. But this was a deal that we knew was done. I fought it and lost. Guess what? I didn't lose. The people of Fall River did. And again, they're saying, oh, it's going to bring, now it's hundreds of jobs. We went from 500 to thousands. Now we're back down to hundreds. Hundreds of jobs to Fall River. But they're not going to go to Fall River people, or majority aren't going to go to Fall River people. The reason being is, number one, you need a high school diploma. Number two, you are going to be required to pass a criminal background check and a drug tox screen. Well, that leaves out a good chunk of people in Fall River. So what do? I don't know. But we have so many hotbed issues to talk about that I want to get to them right away.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
I gotta make one comment. That analogy about the child sex. I got so many papers here, I can't find it. But the illusion, that was not a good analogy, Alan. I hate to tell you that, but that's not a, that's extremely inappropriate to make that analogy. You can make a lot of analogies, but that should be not any analogy used. And as far as this is people saying making a good deal look at, but I'm sick and tired of the people in Fall River, believing this crap, and we're going to get into that crap very shortly.
Oh, yes,
from
we
the
are.
School department. But you know something, Alan, it's not a good deal. They screwed the biopark up. And you're going to make it a good deal because you're going to say, oh, jobs, 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 and that's always what you say. Well, you know something? Yeah, this is the whole problem with this city. You feed them half-truths and distortions of fact. You know something? If the passing score on a test was 70 and you drop it to 30, and then you say, wow, we got 50% increase in people who passed. Did they really pass? Are they competent? Are we going to drop the scores, lowering scores for people to pass, saying that we improved from people failing with a 20% grade to a 40% grade, and say that's 100% improvement is absolute crap. You know, I've heard of half full rather than half empty. But let's be realistic. We're talking about real things here. And let's be objective, let's be pragmatic, and let's tell the truth. Stop spinning everything so you make everything look like, oh yeah, we're moving. Well, you know something? They dropped the passing grade from 70 to 60. Well, why don't we just make it 51%? Because you know something? I don't want a mechanic that passed with a 51% grade, because he doesn't know 49% of what he's supposed to know to fix my car. How well prepared do you think our students are if we continue to lower the bar and continue to manipulate statistics and data to make the system look good when it's failing? The bottom line is the Fall River school system has not met one target in any school in the city. And I don't care with all the hype, and you can march your bank presidents whose wives are school principals in front of the council, and they can talk in glowing terms about the school system. They're full of baloney. Because that same bank president was trying to defend them when he was working on Kathy Ann Viveris's campaign against Will Flanagan. And he wanted to protect the school system because his wife is part of the system. Well, guess what? I don't care. He actually said to me at that meeting, when I called him on, he said, how would you like me to go on against the fire department? I said, be my guest. If they're doing something wrong, you'll have to get behind me in line, because I'll call them on it. So this is the whole problem in this city. We love to paint. We look at everything not through rose-colored glasses, but through rose-colored glasses with blinders. I mean, we never let the facts ever get into the equation when we talk about Fall River. It's always love it or leave it, you hate it, you're negative. Well, you know something? If every school isn't meeting its target according to the state, that's not negativity, that's reality. You know, and frankly, I'm tired of it, because we're on a school department and we're going to get into the school department's total lack of understanding of the healthcare system at some point in time, but I had to say that. And Alan, that analogy was very, very poor.
Yeah,
you want to call CJ things, I can give you a lot of things you can call it, but not comparing it to some kind of sex case. That's
no, and you know what? I got the thick skin. Well, we got the letter finally from, they say, the Division of Local Services from the Mass Department of Revenue, which basically said, blah, 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 we're not responsible, blah, 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 go file a lawsuit. So they don't care, and they came out with the letter after they certified the tax rate. So again, when you threaten them with an injunction to stop them from certifying the tax rate, they go and do it. So now they want us to file a lawsuit against the City Council and the City of Fall River. So I'm tired. I'm done. I'm tired of trying to fight these battles when the people of Fall River can't get up off their backside and do it too. All right? I'm the one with his neck on the chopping block, not you. Okay? I'm the one that takes the heat, and I get my commentaries equated to child sex abuse scandals. This is unbelievable. You know what? If you can't fight for your own rights, why should I, as a sole individual, try to do it? It's just tiring. Okay? And if you want to be heard, you need to open your mouth. You can't stand in the background and say, oh, look at me, and then after it's successful say, oh, I was a big supporter of that. We remember that a year ago, don't we? So, you know, not going to go there. By the way, for you people in Fall River, the tax classification hearing is set for December 1st at 5:30 in the City Council chambers. This is where your City Council will decide who pays what in taxes. And if it's like last year, you, the homeowner, will pay more than the businesses. Because Messiah Mellion's going to come out and say, oh, we can't make the businesses pay more money. So that's also a line of bull. Everyone needs to pay their own freight. Now we get to Chip's story. I don't know if Chip wants to deal with this. Like I said, this is kind of like a hot button show today. It's just like wham, wham, wham. It's, you know, firepower. But before I do this, Chip, you better be warned. You may start hearing music in the background.
That's it, because we, you know, go ahead, CG.
Fall River School officials project higher health insurance costs, leading to bigger shortfalls. And this is the biggest line of bull I ever heard in my life. I was sitting in on this finance committee meeting, which, by the way, was held in a closet, it seemed. It was a small break room, and the public did not gain access. So that's, you know, well, they were able to gain access, but it wasn't really an area to sit. And a certain city school committee vice president turned around and says, I don't want to accuse the city of deceiving us, but... So, accordingly, they're $2-point-some-odd million short.
Yeah.
When all is said and done. And they blame it on Cana RX. And they say that, you know, we don't understand how the city always saved money, but we're going to be, you know, $1 million or $2 million short this year. Maybe because you're idiots? I don't know. Maybe because you need to present a false story to the press that was present? Because guess what? Both I and I do believe Chip spoke with the reporter for that, and he says, I can only report what they gave me. Well, guess what? You're a reporter. Report the truth. Oh, wait a minute. That might be something a little difficult for the the Herald News. So, I don't know, Chip. You serve on the IAC board. You know more than I do about stopgap insurance and multi-million-dollar shortfalls.
well, look. This is a great case of be careful what you wish for, because you might get it, and an infinite ignorance of the system. Okay? This article is so wrong. This presentation was so skewed and so inaccurate. I can't even begin to find the words because they don't understand. I will read you a paragraph from the Herald News. The district is also picking up a new cost in a prescription plan called CanRx, which previously has been funded by the Employee Trust Fund for 2015 and 16, according to a letter of memorandum from Chief Financial Officer Kevin Almeida. Well, Chief Financial Kevin Almeida, get your head out of your rectum, because CanRx, the city always paid their share up until last year when they couldn't afford it, and the employees gave them a loan for 1 year to maintain the CanRx, because the CanRx plan saves the city money. It doesn't cost the city money. It saves the city money, because we're allowed to get Canadian and Australian and English drugs at a much lower rate, because as I've said on previous shows, the United States has a drug cartel. It's called the pharmaceutical industry. And you can buy American drugs anywhere else in the world cheaper than you can buy them in the United States, because the drug companies pay off all our politicians. And nobody ever complains about that. So there you go. But this is, you don't know. We've had CanRx for 15 years, dummy. 15 years, you dummy. And you paid your share. We gave you a loan. That's like Will Flanagan saying, oh, we got a deficit because the SAFER grant ended. What a surprise. Well, he was the only one that didn't know that the SAFER grant was going to end, and the dump was going to close, and the grant to the police department was going to go away, and we weren't going to get host fees anymore. That is making excuses for incompetence, fiscal incompetence. Listen, Meg Mayo Brown and her band of warriors over there We're not happy with the fact that this city has run under budget for years in healthcare, and in the last 5 fiscal years, this city has received $15 million in addition to the money saved on the plan because of the cost shifts. So she wanted her piece of the pie. So she went over and said, we want the healthcare money to be carved out, and we can use it toward net school spending, and we're going to have that money in the school department. Well, like I said, be careful what you wish for, because you might get it. Because nobody in the school department had any idea what a self-insurer is. Self-insurers mean you pay the bills as they come in. Then it goes on to talk about high claims, high-cost claims, which is standard. They're standard. But what happens is when you carve yourself out like they did, they got the benefit of writing it off for their net school spending. And she's looking at the end of the year she wants a piece of the action at the end of the year for the $3 or $4 million they'll save at the end of the year. So she wanted to get her greedy little paws on that because she wasn't happy that the city in the last 4 or 5 years has taken all that extra money and used it for whatever they wanted and not given any to the school department. Like, they don't get enough money anyway, but that's irrelevant. But what happened was the greedy little minions in the school department don't realize that the way a self-insuring plan works is you get the bills at the end of the month and you got to pay them. Well, when you carve it out, it's called adverse selection because you've taken that group out and let them stand alone. But that's not really true because the teachers are still part of the group. The school department is still part of a group for what they call experience. They pay from the same account, but it's only paper. But since it's on paper, they're going to get the bills. And he talks about the high-end claims, Well, we had 28 what we consider extremely high claims. And 26 out of the 28 came to the school department. So now when they got their bills, guess what? They're projecting a shortfall. Because if those bills keep trending that way, they're not going to have enough money in their account. The only problem is their account is not really their account. It's part of the city account. I know it's confusing, but it's really not confusing. It's a fact that they don't know we have stop-loss insurance and we're reimbursed for those high-loss claims after they hit a threshold. And that money comes in at a point in time. But these are not mine. This is, okay, so we know that I'm not making these numbers up like the school department does and making projections on absolute bullshit. I got this yesterday at the Insurance Advisory Committee meeting. It is our monthly report from Group Benefit Strategies, a health insurance monitoring company that does claims monitoring and does projections, et cetera, and it has been with the city for a long, long time. And we get a monthly report. So, okay, this is pages and pages, plus I have the report from the city of Fall River that we're running so short that the Employee Trust Fund, which by the way includes the school department, has a surplus of $5,675,734.10. Does that sound to you like we're running under budget? Doesn't sound that to me. Here are the projections up at the close of yesterday. All our plans, Network Blue, New England, Blue Choice, New England, Blue Care Elect with deductible, and MedX with the PDP, prescription drug program, are running cumulatively at a rate of 95.9%. So we are 4.1% under budget. And if we want to translate that into numbers, as of this report yesterday, we are running 300,000. We're running almost 1.1 million under budget. Under budget. Not over budget. There are no shortfalls. It's only a shortfall in their budget because they wanted their cake and eat it too. But in reality, they can't handle a budget. They can't handle the money. They don't know what they're talking about. The fact is that they're not short. They're short because they wanted those bills. Now they got the bills and they can't pay them. But ultimately, those bills will be paid. But their problem is they have to fudge all their numbers for net school spending. But that's not our problem. But when the Insurance Advisory Committee is not going to allow them to manipulate that data, and to prove it, and I encourage you all to call Health and Human Services and ask Madeline Coelho about these numbers. But I'm looking for the CanRx portion from the city's report, but I've got it almost memorized. The reality is the CanRx premium was 358,000 or in that vicinity from the city, and 358,000 from the school department, which shows that the two are melded. This is a report for the total, the 7,500 employees and dependents that are covered by the city health care plan are in one group. Because the way healthcare it works is, the larger the group, the better your rates. Because what happens is the younger people that don't go to the doctors hold the overall experience costs down for the older people. And then when those younger people get older and they're replaced by younger people, it stabilizes the rates for everybody. That's the reason that people regionalize healthcare. They try to put towns get together, because the more people you have in the plan, the more stability you have in the premiums. Because that's the way it's done in the industry. And this report, their shortfall is caused because they asked for it. They asked to have themselves carved out and in essence cause only on paper, an adverse selection pool. And now they got bills that obviously they're not going to be able to pay, because we have catastrophic illnesses all the time. It's unfortunate. That's the way healthcare is. You're going to have people that have heart transplants and have cancer and have, major medical issues that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is why we have stop-loss insurance. That's part of the system. It's like a crapshoot. Nobody knows. But we know we're going to have them. That's why we have stop-loss insurance. But the problem is, when you ask to be carved out and make yourself a smaller pool, you make yourself vulnerable to shortfalls. Because what happens is, as luck would have it, or unluckiness, 26 of the 28 catastrophic illnesses occurred to school department employees. Now, in the next reporting cycle, we could have 15 or 20 or 30 catastrophic illnesses, and 28 of those could be from the city side. But it's irrelevant, because in reality, everybody is lumped together into a group, and the employee trust fund and the city's money are all melded together. The school department wanted this because they thought they could get over. They thought they could get their cut of the excesses that we've had for years, and that's not my number. The city of Fall River reported over $15 million in surpluses in their health care plan over the past 5 fiscal years to the Department of Revenue. So this, again, shows why education reform should be reformed, and they've got to take the power away. When I spoke to that reporter yesterday, he talked about the CFO, and he said, well, they mandated the CFO. Well, of course. Education reform's the worst nightmare that the state has ever seen. They give you money, but what they do when they give you money is they create all these jobs and costs that break cities like ours back. They're mandated to have a CFO. And what's the problem? These people didn't talk to anybody. that's in charge of health care. They never called the Department of Health and Human Services. They didn't call and want a meeting. Their treasurer, the school department has its own treasurer. They have their own financial team. And you know what the problem is? Our government. The mayor is the chairman ex officio of the school committee. He is also the chief executive officer of the city of Fall River. How many years have we seen a total disconnect between the numbers coming out of the school department and the numbers from the city side? And then they ad nauseum debate these differences. Why? The mayor is the boss. He's also the chairman of the school board. Why doesn't he pick up the phone and tell the superintendent of schools, whoever it is, get your financial team, your treasurer, and your CFO, and get their dumb asses over to the city hall, and I'm going to lock them in the room with the city's financial team, and when they come out, they better have a number they all agree on so I can run this city. But you know why it's never done? Politics and no accountability. And you know something? That's the reason that the superintendent of schools contract should not be renewed until after a new city council and a new school committee is seated. This is absolute baloney. I know they're going to be called over to City Hall next week to discuss this. And this is a case of the school department wanting to get extra money, and it blew up in their face. So you know something? Take it in the face, school department. All right, CJ, you can talk.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, the IAC didn't know what to say. That was one of the, everybody in that committee is infuriated because I'll tell you what, Fall River's not number one in a lot of things, but you know something? We got an award for having the best run healthcare system in the state. There's no healthcare system of any city of our size that has returned more money and run under budget better than us. And the thanks we get is these people in the school department try to imply that there's a problem with the healthcare in this city. And all the hard work and the hours and the dialogue and the transparency that we've had in meetings between the Insurance Advisory Committee and the city has got thrown under the bus because these people are trying to get over again.
Well, I think the background music says a lot.
Stay angry. Here's our theme song to Stay Angry.
It's just amazing that, you know, no matter how much we fight, look, this is all fights. This is all fights that we as citizens are doing every day. And we as citizens are taking it in the face. And it's time for our government to learn. You represent us. You don't represent yourselves.
And wait, and you know, I gotta say, look, this isn't on, you know, we're not making this up.
No.
This is a professional company that represents over 100 cities and towns in the state of Massachusetts and does this work. This is the city's financial report on the health care that I get every month. My briefcase, my health care briefcase weighs like 120 pounds because I got so much paper in there. We killed like an entire forest. But these are, you know, I'm not making these numbers up. You want to go? Call the auditor. I got this yesterday. I'll read it again.
Nah, you don't have to. We only got about a minute left.
Over 5.6 million in excess in the employee account, which means that there should be 15 million or 16 million on the city side in surplus.
Accordingly, we were told that doesn't exist. But I have to make an announcement. Youth Musical Theater is having a Rising Momentum fundraiser, and the award goes to on Friday, November 27th at 7 p.m. at St. John's Club. Please come out and support our youth theater people. They really need the help. Thank you very much for watching. Have a very happy Thanksgiving. And we'll see you on Monday. There's no show on Friday. And remember, stay angry.
Eat a lot of turkey, stay angry, and remember the battle hymn of the Republic.